It's Tattoo. It's Wednesday, December the 2nd. Welcome to our tattoo session tonight, which stands for Tough Answers, Tough Topics Often Overlooked.
Yeah,
So speed it up just a little bit.
We're going to get started.
taking my time to drop this rhyme. Cause in these streets you can't pretend like you're blind. Cause if all you see is disaster, if you have a heart and a brain, the yeah,
So speed it up just a
yeah,
little bit.
check it.
Okay.
Taking my time to drop this rhyme. Cause in these streets you can't pretend like you're
And we're going to
blind.
get started in a
'Cause
moment.
if all you see is disaster, if you have a heart and a brain, then you know what you should be after.
So listen, when you come in, I'm asking you to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Click on the subscribe and give some thumbs up, as well as give me some comments. Let me know that you are, in fact, there. And we're going to share in a moment. We're going to get started. I have some real interesting things to share with you today. So sit back and get comfortable. Let's see here. So we want to share. I'm always asking, do you know what tattoo stands for? Sending out some additional notifications, so just hang in there with me. Every Wednesday we have tattoo. Some of you've heard me share it before. We typically would have tattoo in 2 locations in South Philadelphia. Every second Wednesday at D. Silvestro, which is at 15th and Morris, and every 4th Wednesday at Vare. But since the pandemic, because of COVID-19, we have been live every Wednesday because we virtualized. So we'll begin in one moment. Soon I'd like to do some Uber Eats. We can send out some food to people who are actually watching. That would be cool, wouldn't it? So if you come in, again, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Give me some thumbs up. Just lets me know that you're there. Good. Tattoo live. Tattoo is live now. Okay. All right, I'm finished with most of my notifications. Typically, I like to send something out to our Facebook audience as well. Let them also be aware. So let's do that. Hello to each and every one of you. I'm sending out some notifications. I tell you, if I had a media team, I told you I will hire you to be part of my media team, which helps me give me assistance communicating when we are live. And that would require someone to be a little savvy with social media, with Facebook. So what you could do for me when we go live, some of these other platforms where we're publishing the fact that we are live can be handled by someone else. And I could go right into the lesson. But it's all part of the community, right? It's all part of our social media activity and the things we like to do. So let's do this. Tattoo is live now. I'll provide the link. It's good enough for me. Okay, so listen, again, welcome to our YouTube channel. Tattoo stands for Tough Answers, Tough Topics Often Overlooked. I've already shared that. And what that means is every second and fourth Wednesday, I gather all the youth from the community, and they would come to the inside of the rec center, and we'd have the tables, the chairs set up. I would arrive usually around 7, and by 7:15 the pizza would show up. And by the time the pizza would show up, and by 7:30 we actually got in and went into the lesson. Such like a lesson I have for you tonight. Something we've been talking about for a while now, and I want to continue to share with you what we've been, what we've been sharing and what we've been talking about. So important. We have our cell phone app, the Tattoo cell phone app. Which looks like this. Excuse me. The number that I would ask you to text. Tell me what your name is. Say, hi, my name is. Please send me the Tattoo app. And you're texting that information to 484-655-2994. I will receive that. The app, it's free. When you install it on your cell phone, and you could interact with Tattoo throughout the week. There are promotional items that we share as far as pizza promotion, book promotions, and giving out a book tonight It's two books we're actually sharing for the month, and that's Barack Obama's book for Promised Land, and Jay-Z, Made in America, by Michael Eric Dyson, which is a very, very, very good read. And there are other books. If you know that we were promoting a book in a particular month and you didn't get that book and you still want it, you communicate to me via the app and we'll send that to you. You have to be a subscriber. That's the rules of engagement. Being a subscriber, give me some thumbs up, interact with Tattoo, along with our blog. See if I find this here. We also have our Tattoo blog. So if you just type in your web browser, tattoo.momentumcm.org, there's a series of questions I'm asking. How are you doing with remote learning? I know it's part of our new normal, and I'm hearing some statistics that students aren't doing as well as they were when they were in school. But you know, we have to make the adjustment. It shouldn't be that hard. It really shouldn't. You know, that's just my opinion. It really shouldn't be that hard. Okay? So again, the Tattoo app is very important because we have promotional items as well as movie tickets, and we'll probably do those a little bit different now. Well, once we're able to go back to the movies, we'll still offer movie tickets. You understand that? And then other topics, t-shirts, promotions, things that we are offering with this via Tattoo. All right. So now let's go into our lesson. We've been sharing some things to try to enrich, to expand the way you think about yourself and the way you think about society and your accomplishments and your goals. You know, we have to broaden our horizons. You know what that means, to broaden your horizons? That means to look up. All right. Sometimes we're tunnel vision. Tunnel vision meaning if you live in South Philadelphia or anywhere else in the city or wherever you are in the country, looking at this, sometimes some of our youth, you only see what's around you, and your purview. We call it your purview, and purview it's basically what you're able to see. All right, let's see here. We make some adjustments here as the light show is being performed in the background. Let me see here. Give me a second, y'all. That's good. Your purview is what you can see. All right. And we have our blind spots and things that we cannot see. But if you all right. I need a media team, I'm telling you. I'm adjusting in real time. Your purview is what you can see, right? But often what happens is you become tunnel vision and you don't see any more. And that causes issues over time because you're not seeing the big picture in life. So some of your thoughts, some of your understanding can be at best closeted, if you will, small. So, and those things become your horizons, if you will. But to broaden your horizons is so that you see more. And when you see more, you're in a better position to actualize, which is where we're going tonight. You know, for the past couple of weeks, we've been teaching on self-actualization. And we're going to continue that teaching. It's going to get deep. You know, we're on the surface right now. But we're going to go a lot deeper into what it means to self-actualize, because it's going to cure a lot of problems, I believe, in our society when we self-actualize. So again, some people have never seen anything outside of Philadelphia. You never traveled anywhere. Just traveling and seeing other cultures and other worlds inherently broadens your horizons. And when it happens, it causes you just to be a better human being overall, because you inherently gain an appreciation for where you live. See, where you live, you may think it's the dumps or it's not that great, but then when you go and you see someone who is less fortunate than you, because you may think you have it bad, but it's always somebody who has it worse off than you. But sometimes you always hear that, but you don't see it. You say, yeah, I hear that. But no, you really need to see it. So if we would have put you on an airplane somewhere and you travel over into Dominican Republic or some other country throughout the world and see how they don't have everything, even from the paved roads that we have in the streets. They don't have a lot of these things. And so, and houses and a bed to sleep in, some don't even have those amenities. Some don't even have electricity. And the electricity that they may have, they have to share with the community, because, live in impoverished positions. So you wouldn't know that until you travel. And so when you see this and you see how people eat, they don't have all the snacks and things that you have. You could just go to the fridge or in the kitchen and you may think, oh, we don't have the greatest things to eat, but you have snacks. Some children in third world countries, they don't know what it is to eat some Crimpets or some Cheetos or to have an energy drink or some Mountain Dew or Pepsi. These are all bad things I'm mentioning as far as your diet's concerned. But they don't bottle water and all of these things that, we always so easily take for granted. But what happens is when you see how people don't have those things and when you come back home, it just inherently means it just subsequently by doing that, this happens, right? And what that is, it causes you to just have an appreciation more so for what you have. But you got to travel so that it will broaden your horizons. You get this, all right? So in this teaching, I believe when our horizons are broadened, we be less likely to commit some of the crimes that we see in the community because the stakes are higher. All right. I bring this up all the time. This is our strategy from Momentum and via Tattoo is, again, tough answers, tough topics often overlooked. So they're tough. They're things that you are often or trying to avoid because I want to talk about that, whether it's religion, whether it's love, sex, money, addiction, drugs, loneliness. You name it, all of these different facets in life, sometimes we don't want to talk about them. We just overlook it and hope things just kind of go well for us, right? Without doing our fiduciary responsibility, which is to learn, to listen, to participate, and, to grow ourselves. We have a responsibility. And some of that is all of it is kind of spelled out within the self-actualization, which is what we're going to be teaching on. And we have been teaching on for the past 2 weeks with Tattoo. And I believe in it so much that now the self-actualization is becoming sort of a framework to our family enrichment forums. Now, under our family enrichment forums, we have Tattoo, the anger management. We have the back to school concert, the B to E, B to G. And we weren't able to have it this year because of the pandemic and whatnot. Or at least we weren't able to have the concert, that is. But B to E, B to G still exists under the umbrella of Momentum. We still have the scholarship fund and opportunities for books for summer reading and other scholarship opportunities we like to offer. Some opportunities are offered just by participating with Tattoo. Like I said, I could use a media team, and we could start with a remote. If you're really interested and you raise your hand and you say, Pastor Ings, I would like to be part of your media team to kind of help spread the word when Tattoo goes live. Well, reach out to me because there are certain things that can be accomplished remotely. Now, obviously, I have to get a chance to meet with you at one point, whether it be a Zoom conference or what have you. And because when we go live, it would be nice to have a media team that knew how to distribute that we are live on social media, which means Instagram and on Facebook. That's pretty simple, right? Pretty basic. But it's all part of the moving parts associated with letting people know when we are live. All right. So you've got this. Again, the tattoo app. Text me 484-655-2994. Let me know that you saw this and that you're in. You want the app. Get it installed on your phone, and then we can begin chatting. There's also some financial opportunities. We do have a newsletter, which needs to be virtualized. But within the newsletter, I ask some youth if you like to write, and perhaps you could write an article, whether it has to do with American economy, the presidential elections, a pandemic, COVID-19. There's a lot of things you may want to write about, and maybe not either one of those things. You might want to write something about your loved ones or your grandmama or your parents, something inspiring that the community could use. If I can use it, I'll give you $10. It'll go it'll go in the magazine, and I'll put your name on there with your parents' approval. Your parents have to approve. And even a photo of you. And this is what you said. It'll just be almost like a blog, but it's an article. It's something that you wrote. And if you write well, I'd like to be able to use it. All right. But if I can use it, again, you get $10. Isn't that nice? $10 is $10. All right. So let's go into our lesson for tonight. Self-actualization. The real me. Who am I? All right. The meaning of life. What is life? Okay, we had a definition here last week, and we are now expanding upon it. Self-actualization occurs when a person is able to take full advantage of who they are, their talents and gifts realized. And remember, I shared I'm sorry, everyone. Give me 1 second here. Had to get my water. So many changes in real time, and I apologize for it. I should have all of these things with me. But self-actualization, again, the meaning of life, it occurs when a person is able to take full advantage of their talents, their gifts, when they realize also your purpose while being completely mindful of your limitations. That's big. That's bigger than I can even describe for this definition here, because that's a real good place to be, to know all of these things. Now, there's a difference between your talents and your gifts. Your gifts are things that you're born with. Okay? Your talents are things that you acquire over time. You've learned them. All right? But when you know the difference between the two, that's a real good place to be. It is when I can balance my greatness with my faults and at the same time maximize my possibilities as to who I can be, when I can be it, where I can be it, and with whom I can be it with. Now, that statement is pretty big, because it's good to understand the importance of surrounding yourself with what we call prophetic voices, people who perceive greatness in you. We call those perceptive people, or those of your managers or what have you. We would consider that a perceptive overseer, someone who, like your parents, your supervisor on the job, your guidance counselor, your teacher, and people who are kind of overseers, but have a perception of the greatness inside of you, and they speak to it. You may be at your worst behavior, but a perceptive overseer will always speak to the best in you. They say this is, you may have done something wrong, and they'll let you know that's not really you. The real you, you have a big heart. You have this, and you can be anything you want to be. You're really good at this, or you're really good at memorization, and that can take you far in life. Or you're good at math, and other things that people perceive greatness about. You're very detail oriented. As bad as you can be, but when I come in your bedroom, it seems like everything's always in order. You keep things in order, and not the average person does that, right? Not naturally. It's like you have a gift for that, but a perceptive overseer will speak to those things in you. But a good balance to self-actualize, or to draw a good balance with that very ideal, is when you get to the point where you know this about yourself. See, it's one thing for have people to say that to you. And yes, it'll build you up and it'll encourage you. But it is another thing to get to a point where when you do hear it, you can agree with it. Because that's important. Because the opposite can happen. People can say things that aren't true about you. And you would just assume believe them because you haven't self-actualized. You're still trying to find out who you are. So what Tattoo and the Family Enrichment Forum is always, our aim is always to build a better you. There's a pyramid that's associated with this teaching, and it actually, I have it the other way around. The physiological is at the bottom of the pyramid, and at the top is where we self-actualize. All right, it's like the needs pyramid, what every human being needs if we're going to be really balanced and healthy in this life. And just because you're alive and you're existing doesn't mean you sociologically that you are healthy. Some people, like I said, are very tunnel vision. They may be alive today, but they function in a very small world mindedness. If you may be in a small world, but you don't have to be. You don't You don't have to have a small mind, a small mindedness as it relates to the world that you live in. It's a big world. The globe is big, and it is through reading books and caring about your education and caring about your vocabulary and broadening your horizons is where you begin to build a better balance with all of these things and be more healthy, a healthier you. So the physiological, there's the safety, loving and belonging, which is more so community. Esteem, I can highlight that because we talked heavy about that last week, and I'm going to be speaking more about it today as well. Your self-esteem, again, if the more highly you think of yourself, it solves some problems. Even when we're dealing with gun violence or what have you, I truly believe that if you have a more higher self-esteem in other areas in your life, you'll be less likely to want to commit any crimes, because to commit a crime would cause a breach in those areas, a break. It would cancel it out, right? If you got a contract to be a football player, or you have a contract to, I don't know, to be a musician, you travel worldwide, that's great stuff. You sign a contract and they say, listen, we'll pay you $1 million a year, to go on tour with this particular, because you're a good musician. And you sign up, say, all right, I'll do it. Well, the stakes are higher now, and you would be less likely to do something to destroy that for yourself, like brandishing a gun and walking in the neighborhood shooting people. Because if you get caught doing that, it shuts all that down. So it's not even worth it. Broaden your horizon. All right, so here's a little bit more building on that pyramid. As you can see in the far corner there, we have the physiological needs, and all of these this is the needs pyramid. Abraham Maslow is the founder of this. He's a sociologist, psychologist. who's become sort of the father of self-actualization. All right, so you'll hear his name come up, but it's a framework based upon what human beings need. That's basically, and it's a good way to kind of lay it out. I'm in full agreement with these intellectual building blocks associated with this needs pyramid, and I share them to help you have an appreciation for them initially, or initially to be exposed to them. And after you're exposed to them, you then gain an appreciation for them, and that is to self-actualize. All right. So the physiological is the environment, called a whole body systems: oxygen, water, food. These are just basic things that we need. The safety is more sustainability. All right. Shelter, security, secure from bodily harm. And these are things important if I'm going to live. All right. That's very, very important. It's very basic. You want to be able to walk out your house and make it from point A to point B without your life being taken. Because, our lives are being threatened all the time because of crime. And so it becomes, first and foremost, I need water to drink and food to eat and shelter. All right. These and oxygen to breathe. And that's even being challenged now by the pandemic. You've got to wear these masks and whatnot. But part of self-actualizing is knowing this and not being fooled or not ignoring it, basically. All right. And under the safety and sustainability shelter, I need to be able to know, I need to live in an environment. That's real important. Some people will move. I need to live somewhere where I can be safe. People do it all the time. They will uproot and move places. Some people leave the country and have in time past, and maybe even in the future. They feel like, I'm not safe here. I'll go somewhere else. That's a need. I need to be safe. That is a need. Even for the hardest of criminals. That's why they have all their goons, we call, all their bodyguards and all that, because that is a need. It's a shame to live your life such that you need all of that, because that kind of impinges upon your freedom. Can't even go for a run without having security guards with you and whatnot, or the opposite. You commit so many crimes that you've acquired so many enemies. Maybe you have committed some gun violence, so now you got to spend the rest of your years, watching over your shoulder. It's a need, though. So that's hence the need pyramid. Love and belonging, which is really community. And I talked about family love and intimate relationships. We all need that. Love in and of itself heals. We need love. If it be only that you get it from your grandmother. Again, I make it the extremes of a hardened criminal. At one point, he in and of himself, to some extent, is healed and sustained as a human being, because there may be just that one person that loves him. If it be not but his dog or his girlfriend for years, the mother of his children. Now, he may have committed all the crimes in the community that he's bad enough to do, but it's somebody where the rubber meets the road that will embrace him and say, I'm hoping for the best in you. We need that. And again, the esteem, the prestige, feeling of accomplishment. And then at the top of the pyramid, you have the self-actualization, where all of these things are realized. Your personal aptitude and potential. Now, here's where I begin to broaden the physiological portion, which is at the bottom of the pyramid, all right? Which is the branch of biology dealing with the functions and activities of living organisms. Their parts, including the physical and chemical processes, the science of life, all right, or our DNA even, the particular order of cells and molecules, as well as tissues and organs that makes things work the way that they do. That's very basic. But along with that basic is things that physiologists, are scientists who have studied these physiological components to determine why things happen. Like Alzheimer's and how your memory is impacted by things that you do, not having enough sleep, heart disease, type of diet we have, and the way exercise has impacts all these things, diabetes, asthma, anorexia, aging, spelled that wrong, sorry, pain. And all of these things are associated with the very big, but you have to know them. You have to have an appreciation for them. All right. In order to really have a grand self-actualizing of yourself, you have to consider these things, these chemical elements, even in your own body, how they work, how to optimize them. Because if you don't, you're gonna abuse yourself. You're gonna, like I mentioned, when I talked about snacks earlier, those foods are not good for you. If you continue to just eat, drink Pepsi and eat snacks all the time around the clock, Doritos and Cheetos and all of that stuff that I like to eat too. I'm not going to lie. But you can't make a meal out of those things and continue to eat that because there's artificial flavoring. There's some, and those artificial flavors are associated with chemicals and things that, dyes and things. Once you put it in your system, it has an effect on your body. You just got to realize that. That's the physiological part. So when you educate yourself on that, you'll be more inclined to start reading the ingredients on things that you buy. Because often you would be surprised that some of these chemicals not being in your body, you'll see a different response, the way your body will behave. I'm telling you, this is very, very important. So scientists study these things out. Exercise, how our bodies respond to a normal regimen to physical fitness routines. Physiology studies how obesity is made possible, relating to our appetite and brain signals. Isn't that something? When we talk about physiology and your brain, your appetite, your brain is sending the wrong signal to you that you're still hungry. And if that's not turned off, that's the reason why you eat. From a physiological point of view, the reason why we continue to eat, because your body's communicating something as it's designed to do, so you won't die of starvation. That, it needs a certain thing. You need water. You need some nourishment. Sometimes I can run and do a lot of things without having eaten, and I feel weak, and I can tell I need food in my system. And that's a proper communication from my brain into the rest of my system, so I'll eat. But one of the things that happens in obesity is that communication, even after you've eaten, somehow your brain is still communicating to your body that you're still hungry. And that's not true. It's a physiological, it's a chemical it's something molecular that's really going on inside of your body that causes you. Now I'm not getting in all into that. We're still talking about self-actualization, but these things help you know yourself better, whether you have a control over it or not. At least you have an understanding for it and appreciation for it. Pretty deep, huh? Scientific forces that are at play when we breathe and move, what causes our bones to function the way that they do, air we breathe and how it impacts our bodies. All right, so that's all the physiological parts. Our safety, again, we build it upon the state of being safe, freedom from occurrence or risk of injury, danger, or loss. There's financial security. That's important. We need that. You need to have some sort of sense that I'm secure financially. That's a need. If you're going to, expand upon certain areas of your life, if you're going to purchase a house or buy a car, there's some securities that need to be in place if you're going to keep it. Relational meaning security in certain relationships. If you get married or you have a roommate, there needs to be a level of security that knows that this person isn't going to freak out at one point and steal everything that I own when I go off to work. That's the need, hence the need pyramid. Love and belonging, we talked about this, to be in a relationship, a relational of members, to be appropriately or properly placed and situated, unconditionally accepted. Remember I talked about the love of your parents or siblings, or even your dog. They say that a dog is a man's best friend because, a dog has a way of loving you unconditionally. But that we need that love from human beings as well, not just a dog. But if you do get it, it's still, it triggers a certain good feeling inside of you, a feeling that you need. You may have had a bad day. It seemed like everybody was against you, but you come home and Rover is just elated just to see you, jumping all over you, and you like that. You just sit back and you rub his head or her head, and it kind of makes you feel good, all right? Why? Because human beings need that. Love heals, all right? Community, inclusion, involvement, esteem, again, to regard highly or favorably, regard with respect or admiration, consider certain value that you have. And there's some value points associated with this that I can share. Requires a sense of accomplishment. And lastly, at the top of the pyramid is to self-actualize, which is the achievement of one's full potential through creativity, independence, spontaneity. That's big, y'all. That's bigger than I can. All right, so listen, let's do this. I have something here I want to share with you. Let's see, where did I put this? Okay, let's see if I can do it like this. I'm just going to share a couple of points regarding our self-actualization and what it means, what it looks like when a person is self-actualized. So you make a transition into realizing who you are. And it's like, what does a person who has self-actualized, what's the end game here, Pastor Ings? What's the goal? The goal is, when I have a whole listing, we're going to, like I said, over several weeks, we're going to stick with this topic to make for a better you. All right. Number one, a self-actualized person has a superior perception of reality. He or she sees reality more objectively than other people. You know what that means? Some of the things we're dealing with now in this country, which is very disheartening, is that our country is like split in half as a result to this election. I'm glad everyone voted the way they did. But what has happened, even these past 4 years, this is a great example because this is a reality. There's been a sense of falsehood, not even a sense. There's been so many lies. The governments lie all the time. But the height of it has really been manifested itself in these past 4 years as Donald Trump being the president. And because of his personality and his demeanor and his poor work ethic, I mean, he's just chauvinistic, and it's so many adjectives to describe who he is. And we may bring some of that out because it's something that's worth noting. Because if you don't note these things, you'd be more inclined to watch them repeat themselves. Right? Don't take for granted that what happened the past 4 years is just something that, we can get over. So, well, that was a bad time. And it was. But you need to understand what we were actually dealing with. Because it doesn't want to go away. It's not only him. He's a symptom of something that's happening in this nation. And part of it is its foundation, for the most part, was hatred and these things. But it's a lack of being real or being honest about our realities. Whether it's racism, they always bring it up, being racist, and does it exist? Police brutality, does it exist? Well, people like him and some others say that it doesn't exist. Just to say that it's not embracing reality, whether you agree with it or not. Part of self-actualizing is being able to, as I shared it here, so a self-actualized person has a superior perception of reality. You might not like it, but you know exactly what's going on. Like the election. You may not like the outcome, but the reality is that Donald Trump did not win. He didn't win by any margin. So for him to say, I won, and then to have people marching in the streets and still rallying on the idea that he's the winner is a falsehood. It's sickening, actually, because you're not facing reality. We don't even teach our children that. Somebody needs to be able to tell you no when, we learn that as children, because if you don't, it'll make you a spoiled brat. Everything doesn't go your way. So you have to be able to handle that. Because if you cannot handle that, that makes for a very unhealthy you. When bad stuff happens, it's kind of like, I don't know, you wanted a certain toy at the store, and maybe your parents said you can't have it, at least not right now. Well, you got to be able to control yourself. You can't fall out all over the floor and kicking and screaming. And first of all, you're going to get your fanny whooped, or on punishment, or however your parent will discipline you. That's unacceptable behavior. You act out all like that over a toy. But what happens is, if you do that as a child, it's going to carry into adulthood. So when things don't go your way, you just want to break up everything. And I know people like that. I've seen people do that before. When certain things don't go their way, they call it scorch the earth. In other words, or even in relationships. See, that stuff spills over in other areas of your life if it's not fixed when you were a child. Some of these adult conflicts are youth conflicts. Somebody just never told you no. And so now that you're a grown person, you're impacting more lives and people's lives, and you still carry this way about you that's like, if I'm told no, I'm just going to fall apart. I'm going to fire people. I'm going to do this. I'm going to burn the building down. That's bad. That is real bad. And this is what we're seeing. But a self-actualized person, which is our goal, the needs pyramid, the very top of that is someone who has a superior, I love the way it says, a superior perception of reality. He or she sees reality more objectively than everyone else. See, objectively means I'm able to stand out and not so much put myself in it. I'm a part of it, but I'm able to look at this thing from different angles. That's what it means to be objective. Some people can only see things from one way. There's certain people in this country, millions, who voted for this man, only see this election turning out in his favor. It's as if nothing else could ever happen. That's a bad place to be in. Because in every election, somebody's going to lose. Your candidate's not always going to win. And it doesn't have to be because some corruption has happened. It's just a reality. More people voted for this candidate than the other. I could talk a whole lot about that. The second thing is, he or she has an increased acceptance of himself, others, and nature. All right? And that's big, learning how to accept yourself and to forgive yourself. All right, the goal is to self-actualize. And a self-actualized person has a handle on these things. Number 3, he has an increased spontaneity in his behavior. And not so ruled or bound, and therefore is able to be more spontaneous. Spontaneity is it's a control thing in the sense that you choose to break out of the norm, right? In a positive, we're mentioning in a positive way, spontaneity. You know how to have fun in a moment. You're not so stuck to the rules and regulations that you cannot do something objectively and fun and instantaneously. When you are self-actualized, you're more inclined to be able to do this. So I don't know, illustration, maybe on a job, and in the middle of the workday, maybe the supervisor or maybe the team wanted to go and do something we never did before. Let's go out of the building and go for a team lunch or something like that. And because you've never done it before, you feel like, oh well, I've got to do this. And I say, come on, man, let's just do it. We're coming right back. Well, I'm not really used to. You're just so stuck on the regimen where you just can't be spontaneous. Especially in relationships, you often see that in a marriage, or after a while, we have certain way we do things. But it's something just in the middle of the night, just like, let's go to the movies. We're both kind of tired, but let's just break up the monotony and just do something totally unexpected, and let's go out to the movies and do something objective and positive. A self-actualized person can do that and not feel like they've lost themselves or lost something by doing it. Interesting stuff, huh? A self-actualized person is more focused on the problems in life than on himself. Not so worried about their own feelings, which counterintuitively you feel better about yourself. What that means is, when you are more concerned about the problems of the world and how you can help draw a better resolution than the problems of yourself, it just and counterintuitively it makes you feel better about yourself. Jesus in the Bible says he implies it's better to give than to receive, because it just feels better. Only a self-actualized person, or going in that direction, that's a good thing, is able to take full advantage of that. Some people just want to receive. It's about me. It's all about me. It's all about me. And that's not healthy. But if you reverse that thing, and the moment you start giving to other people, maybe you have a lot of sneakers and you start giving stuff away, and you see yourself helping other people, it inherently just starts making you feel better about yourself. Self-actualized people have a deeper appreciation for privacy and solitude. They value time to contemplate and to think. This is me all the way. Some people are afraid of their thoughts by themselves. They always have to have something coming their way. They got to be on the phone. They got to do. I love being curled up on the couch somewhere with a book and some tea. I can shut all of this down from social media. With Momentum, we do so many things. We're touching so many lives on so many platforms, from Instagram to, tonight, we got our YouTube channel and other things that the ministry does. I'm out in the community passing out literature, going face to face with some of the youth and some of the young fellas, talking about gun violence and how we can handle that better. But apart from all of that, I learn and I know how to unplug. So these are some of the things I want you to learn how to do. Unplug. Because when you self-actualize, you don't feel like you don't. In other words, you don't suffer from. Here's a word, FOMO. You don't suffer from FOMO. You know what that is? If you're seeing this, before I even say it, type it into the live. Looks like I'm frozen. Am I frozen? It's always something when I least expect it.
If you're seeing this before I even say it, type it in.
All right, looks like my video is frozen. I apologize. It's outside of my control. Therefore, I'm going to end this session. Self-actualization. This was Tattoo tonight. Remember, it stands for Tough Answers, Tough Topics Often Overlooked. We are learning how to self-actualize. All right? So keep that in mind. Tattoo Live.
Yeah,
So speed it up just a little bit.
check it.
Okay.
Taking my time to drop this rhyme. Cause in these streets you can't pretend like you're blind. Cause if all you see is disaster, if you have a heart and a brain, then you know